comes the time, and then what happens? Y'all know. Okay. Nobody knows the troubles I've seen. Nobody knows my sorrow. Nobody knows the trouble I see. Glory, glory, hallelujah.
Hello, welcome. I'm BL Shirelle. Thank you guys for joining us here this afternoon/evening. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. We appreciate that. And if you guys want to stay after the show to ask some questions and stuff, that's great too. We asked Miss Naomi to start off with that song because we're going to be talking about troubles that nobody knows unless they've been in prison or have a loved one in prison. And we call our play Surviving Troubled Waters because when Naomi and I look back at all the things that we had to survive through the course of prison, it was like drowning, having to keep our heads above water just to survive. But we made it. We survived.
Yes, we did.
Right? We survived, and we're going to take you on a journey that we hope will help you understand what more than 3 million Americans are living through today, and the millions more who love them. Think of yourselves as Dante on his trek through the Inferno. He had a guide named Virgil to help him climb out of hell and make his way up to heaven. Tonight, we will be your Virgil, looking at the path into and out of prison through the lens of our music. I call it an empathy lens. Music, it helped us survive, and now we can look back at it all with the kind of empathy Dante had for the souls he met on his journey. Dante was a convict. He wrote his poems in exile, knowing he would be burned at the stake if he ever returned home. And when I was invited to Yale to talk about Dante, I didn't think I had much to say. But it turned out that we had a hell of a lot in common. And I was blown away by the similarities. The themes of my music run parallel to the text in the Divine Comedy. And Dante hoped that his stories about getting out of hell will help suffering people find hope. And that's how we feel about our stories. We're in the healing profession now, using music to help others. But getting here was a very hard road to climb. Like Dante said,
the road is long and the path is bumpy. It's no walk in the park.
That's our friend Dante. Oh, sorry, I mean Denny. That's Denny. Denny is quoting Dante and singing music from his poem. The injustices that Dante wrote about in the Middle Ages are not so different from the injustices that we still live in today. So when she holds up Dante's book, she's quoting him. When she's not, she's quoting us.
Thanks, BL. You know, the name of BL's third album is Asata Troy. It means she who struggles is a warrior. Dante was a warrior too. The sword he used was inscribed with the word Tinaseus, which means be strong. The phrase that fits Naomi and BL as much as it fits Dante. When Dante began his journey, he asked the muses to help him write the truth. Oh muses, oh memory, help me write down what I saw.
When I was in second grade, I loved school. I lived with my grandma. Life was good. I guess I was even, dare I say, a bougie kid. Like, I didn't eat free lunches. My grandma ripped the edges off my bread every single day. I was very, very upper middle class. And I had a teacher named Miss Hart who introduced us to poetry. She was blown away by my talent for words. My second grade poems, they were really deep for a second grader. I used to talk about shit like ancestors and descendants, and I mean, kind of the same stuff I talk about now, to be honest. And in third grade, I started writing poems that rhymed, raps. And they have to fit in a box, just to give you a description of how you write a rap. They have to kind of fit in a box. It's called the rhyming box. So because of that, they weren't as deep as they were in second grade. And I remember the first rap that I wrote. It was something like, birds go tweet, I give them breadcrumbs to eat. Now, to Ms. Hart's credit, it was terrible. It was a terrible rap. But I remember Ms. Hart looked over my shoulder and read it, and she snarled. It's an older white woman. I hate it. I hate it. And I remember my eyes welled up. I was hurt because she was the person that I looked to reinforce this whole writing thing. But even though she hurt my feelings with her reaction, I didn't stop doing it. And that was a pivotal moment for me, because I had finally found my thing, the thing that would help me cope. Well, not finally, because I was only in third grade. But I didn't know that that would be the thing that I would end up doing, but it was the thing that I knew that I was good at. And later, when I was in full self-destruct mode, it's the one thing that I had to help me cope through all the stages of my life. Hell, purgatory, and now my paradise on earth. I don't like to say paradise, it makes me feel like I'm gonna die soon. I'm not done. I still got some work to do. But by the time I got to sixth grade, my writing was really dope. It was very introspective and honest about my life. And not everybody is an introspective artist. Some people are escapism artists. So if they feel sad, they write a happy song, to get them out of that mood. For me, my motivation for writing has always been introspection. And in my opinion, it helps with self-awareness, healing, knowing how to communicate, and being able to communicate how you feel to other people because you've already communicated it with yourself. And when I go back and I look at some of my old placement books that I wrote in juvenile detention, I have a book in there, and it's called The Row House with One Story. And it's about all the stuff that was going on in my house at the time. I had songs for my mom, I had songs for my dad, I had songs for people I felt betrayed me, even the people that I loved. Every feeling that I used to feel back then, I used to write a song about it. And what that did was, it helped me to know where I was at, even if that was a really dark place. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to sing a song for you guys called SIGS. That is an acronym for Shit I Gotta Say. And this is pretty vulgar. I don't think I have a hip hop crowd tonight. I like to call it an away game. Doing an away game today. But I hope that this is a safe space for me to tell my truth. I have to rewind the times before the rhymes. I have to rewind the crimes. They locked me for that dime. I have to rewind before the first time I sold the mom. I have to rewind my mind the times I don't want reminded. Rewind to 99. We was 11, 12, stuffing them 12, 12s. We shared a tray 8. We had like 12 shells, juvenile cells, jail, praying for Snell now. But I won't talk about it. My broken heart and open scar, feel like you whipping broke a jaw. Dropping ice on your stove, just trying to see if something mold. Trying to see them oils hold. Lost your dreams and all your goals, and the Pyrex you stole from Lowe's. Y'all know the feeling. My self-esteem was kinda low. I had a demon in my soul that sank his teeth and made a hole without a feeling. But I won't talk about it. My heart got chalk around it. Yeah, that's what I thought about it. Yeah. Just some shit I gotta say. It's just shit I gotta say. Shit I carry every day. Yeah. There's some shit that's on my heart. Yeah. Damn. Where the fuck am I gonna start, huh? These weirdo niggas is bitches, I give them morning sickness. The more they sitting, the more I'm shifting, they more the difference. Some niggas getting your business, some niggas getting their feelings. I just get to the witness, the snitch and co-defendant. See niggas fake their religion, hitting Christians, and when they eating that chi-chi, they envisioning chitlins ain't gonna get more specific. Go west and I hit the Pacific. I hope them fucking illiterate niggas know the difference. But no, I'm a victim of recidivism. I'll only be civilized in the prison systems. Yeah, religious stigma keep a sinner's vision. Stigma's a bigger division. It can't be mended, it's cemented and demented. My window's tinted and my skin is, which one is it? When you violate my rights and my amendments, them same rights was never given to begin with. I'd rather ask for forgiveness than permission. Clinicians can't provide prescription for this sickness. Cause I'm addicted to the digits, they addicted to syringes. Common sense, we must conduct a business. Yeah. And this just shit I gotta say. It's shit I carry every day. My man, mom died while he was at child time. Baby mom miscarried while he was at commissary. It's kind of scary because it's Sully's a drag who dresses in women fashion. Medea, they call her Tyler Perry. I could barely get fresh with that designer rarely till I did that math like, hold up, that one I gotta carry. Till I grip that gat like, hold up, this gun I gotta carry. Cause niggas wanna spill my blood and my prime carry. Spoiled milk, reminiscing on that rotten dairy. In this game, it's one and done. We play for Kyler Perry. Draft picks from the body of the belly bottom beast. But when it's extra hollow in your belly, gotta eat. And when they plot and stop them, you can't let them bottom feed. Even if I gotta fight in the Rockies, Apollo Creed. Spent countless nights in the county without a blink. But I ain't gotta sleep, motherfucker, I gotta drink. Yeah. And it's just shit I gotta say. It's just shit I gotta say. Shit I carry every day.
Lost in despair. Lost in despair, Dante is rescued from darkness by his hero and role model, the poet Virgil, who was like a father to him. Oh, my great love, you are the author of me, the one that gave me the sweet style that wins me honor.
So, when I was a little girl, my father, literally, he was everything to me, everything. He was the Easter Bunny, he was Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy. I had a wonderful childhood thanks to him. My parents, if you can see this, just to give you a little idea, had this little glass piano on their coffee table. And this piano made no sound. I want you to hold that for me. Okay. This piano made no sound. But I used to get on my knees and I used to just play that little glass piano. So my mother and father one day, they were like, you know, you think that girl might be able to play a piano. So it was on one evening, it was on my 8th birthday. That's how I remember so well. It was my 8th birthday, and my mother told me, she said, the doorbell rang. She said, Naomi, go answer the door. I should have known something was up there because she didn't allow me to go open the door at night. So I go to the door, and there's this big truck outside with piano written on the side. And so that's when I got my first piano. I'll never forget it as long as I live. And so I would sit at that piano and just try and mimic the songs that I would hear my mother play. Now, mind you, all she played was gospel. All real loud. I couldn't play my music loud, but her gospel rang through that house. And so I would try and hum some of the songs, you know, and figure it out on the piano. And didn't know I could sing a little bit. So then I started singing. My father loved my music, God rest his soul. He loved my music, and every time he would have company, he would take his hat off and, you know, tell me to play something and pass his hat around. Tell his company to put a little something in there. I made out pretty good a lot of times. So I love that, and you know what, I think it kind of helped me to get used to, like an audience like you, because he always had me singing in front of his company. So now, when I was in prison, I was asked by the principal to sing at a graduation. So I thought that The Wind Beneath My Wings would be like a great song because the teachers were like the heroes to the ladies that were getting their diplomas. But then I started thinking that would be a great song for my father as well, because my father, he truly was my hero. So I thought, maybe I'll make that song in my mind for him as well. Well, my father passed away when I was in prison. And I'll never forget it as long as I live. It was on November 14th. It was on a Friday night. And that was the same night of that graduation. And I'm thinking to myself, I can't sing at this graduation. I feel horrible. I lost the best friend I've ever had, my buddy. How am I going to go and sing at a graduation? But I could hear my father in my head, literally, saying, Naomi, you promised those people that you were going to sing at that graduation, and that's just what you're going to do. You can't help me now, I'm all right. So I went to that graduation, and I sang. And you know what, it's probably the best I ever sang that song, because he just stayed in my heart.
Dante and Virgil pause during their descent into hell so they can get used to the stench of the place. Let us stop to accustom our senses to the evil smell so we can ignore it. Miserere.
reading Dante, one thing that always struck me was the smell in hell and how they had to numb themselves to it. And ironically, that's what my rap song, Generational Curse, is about. We'll get to that in a second. When it comes, I want y'all to listen to the chorus, okay? But I became a part of all this madness. I adapted to it, to be able to exist in it, so it would seem not so out of the ordinary. And I don't want this to be a trauma show, so I'm going to skip some gruesome stuff. But a lot of people used to come into my house and get rich selling drugs. Somebody get out of jail, somebody might give them a pack. 6 months later, they rolling around their money. And I was about 12 years old at the time. I remember I was having this conversation with a guy, a neighborhood drug dealer. There was a lot of violence and stuff going on in my house because it was a big moneymaker. There was a lot of drug dealing beefs. And we were talking about that. We was in a smoking session, cypher. I don't know how many of y'all know. Y'all know about that, I'm sure. But I remember we were sitting having a conversation, and he said, why don't you sell the drugs in the house? He said, that way, you can stop the violence, and all the money stays in the house, because you're the person controlling it. And although he had his own ulterior motives for suggesting such a thing, I still thought it's a pretty good freaking idea. So he gave me my first pack. And I remember going to my mom and saying, Mom, I'm out here now. So you can bring everybody to me. And I put her in a very tough spot. I imagine it was very hard for her to say no, because there had been no telling me what to do for a while. It would have been weird for her to just step in all of a sudden and play this role that she hasn't been playing. So I assume it was pretty hard for her to put her foot down. But after I got that first pack, you know what happened? She robbed me of that shit. She robbed me. And that was her way of telling me that I was not ready for whatever it is that I thought that I wanted to do. But I got the next one. And when I got the next one, I was more on point. Not that that helped, because my mom robbed me from my whole drug dealing career. But for that second pack, I was a little more focused. And my mother wanted to protect me from serving or selling drugs to everyone. So I was only allowed to give her the drugs, and then she would disperse wherever it went. That was her way of protecting me. So the way that we exchanged is she would go to the step, and I would put the money on the, she would put the money on the step, I would put the drugs on the step, whatever, then I would pick up the money, she would pick up the drugs, however. That was how our transaction worked. But one day, I don't remember how long later, I don't know when it changed, I just remember one day, she didn't put the money on the step. And I don't know how it happened. I just know the moment that I put it in her hand, instead of on the step, it was a moment that we couldn't come back from. It was a new era in our relationship. The minute that the drugs and money actually exchanged hands, it was a turning point. While my feature is talking, I'm going to turn around. I want y'all to listen to her. Had the strength and resolve, dirty 38s that revolved. I was armed at an early age. Sent my grace even when I starved. Cause through grace I evolved just from bagging up on dirty plates, switching tags up on them jersey plates. They say it's the road to riches or pearly gates, depending on what turn you take, depending if you learn to swerve and break shit. We all carry little certain traits. I watch my lady dominate her workspace and still feel the need to permestrate, assimilate. So I shake my dreads in honor of a curly mane. Do it for Marjorie and do it for Pearly May. They blood pressure equivalent to this murder rate. with sugar levels that's sending them to attorney rates. I gotta update the price on my life insurance rates. Black matriarchs never late for their early grave. Getting calls before the morning break, unsure if they got them on my wake. It's a cycle that I swore I'd break. See my son's torture traits, praying he abort this fate. Thursdays selling rollies just for shorty Trey. Gotta connect in the kitchen, she give me Obey. Gotta connect us Dominican, call him Jose. I got a tester, it's going if she say okay. They bundle up in the summer like it's a cold day. I'm really bored with the crack rap, but I can't help it, I got flashbacks. I need my flowers. I did a dime and came home and built a non-profit record label for those still inside, still silence. Just being honest. Want my acknowledgement? The fuck you want? A cookie, bitch? Yeah, chocolate chip, demolish it, then vomit it. Cause I don't even eat that type of shit, but y'all can eat off my accomplishments. I don't follow the trends. I rock button-ups with corduroy collars and trim, and dread hats with plaid and polka dot on the brim. They say I'm out of style, I just call it unique. They say I'm in denial, I just need a few feet. You'll get stuck with a few feet if you come within 2 feet. We stayed with the latest, we was packing the new heat. That design of the drum don't hit the market for 2 weeks, and I cop every color, every size, every time they come out. Like the Yeezys that you got on your 2 feet, fiends cop. All the butter, every size, mix and pies, I run out. Get the order, knock it out like loose teeth. I send my guys letters, still writing on loose leaf. They gave our guys letters, not a sentence to proofread. But every time I'm in this blue, I bleed. Anytime you need the truth, just read. 100.
Fortune protects Dante from an attack by demons. Like a mother awakened by flames who grabs her child and runs, caring more for him than for herself.
So you see, let's get this out of the way first. First thing is that I'm gay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gay. And I never, ever thought that I was going to have any children, ever. And I only married my husband, really, because he reminded me of a female. He really did. And really, this is real talk, real talk. You know, and my mother and father wanted me to get married so bad. They were always like, you ain't never gonna have no children, we ain't good. So that was the reason that I married my husband. And he and I, we used to get high together. So one day we were sitting in my mother and father's living room, and he was like, Naomi, you know what? He said, if I ever got married, he said, I would marry a woman just like you. Now I'm thinking. So I'm like, well, my mother and father are in the kitchen right now, old school. I said, so go ask them if you can marry me. And he was a shy guy. And he went in that kitchen, and I could hear him. He was like, Miss Wilson, can I marry your daughter? Boy, you talking about, oh, happy day. My mother and father were so happy. My father jumped up out of that chair he was sitting in, and he said, yes. Oh, yeah, oh, so happy. My mother, she jumped up out of her chair. Oh, baby, yes, baby. They were so happy. And you know why they were happy? Why were they happy? He was a man. He was a thief, a drug addict, and anything you can think of, but they loved him because he was a man. He was a man. Happiest day of their lives. And I'll never forget it as long as I live. It's like I can almost picture that event right now. So I'm saying all this to say that I never thought I would have any children. And I couldn't hardly even remember when my husband and I would have sex. Really, it was so far and few in between. And so I got sick one night and I had to go to the hospital. So when I went to the hospital, you know how you're in the emergency room, and I heard this nurse saying, you know, about somebody being pregnant, but I'm like, well, I know she ain't talking about me. She couldn't have been. Well, here she comes. Why haven't you been to prenatal clinic? You 7 months pregnant. And I'm like, I'm 7 months pregnant. I said, Lord, this lady gotta be crazy. Because I couldn't even remember when I did anything to be pregnant. And so they started showing me all these pictures of these babies, you know, that are born to drug addicts and alcoholics, you know. And so I'm so happy that I'm having this baby. You know, I'm thinking, and I say to the nurse, I said, look, I don't care if he got 2 heads, he or she, I'm keeping it. So, and I really felt that way. So now, anyway, the little months go by and I have this baby. He's the cutest baby. He was just so cute. And you know what? When I tell you God is good, all the time. Yes, he is. Somebody been to church. Mm-hmm. But God is good all the time. And I'm going to tell you why he's good. Because he knew not to give me no crying ass baby when he gave me that baby. I'm telling you, he knew it because I was a drug addict, I was an alcoholic, and I'm telling you, he knew what he was doing when he gave me that baby. When you're an addict, and I don't know, maybe some of you have never been on drugs before. Maybe some of you have never been on alcohol before. I was on both. But when you're on drugs and alcohol, you know your stomach is hurting, your head is hurting, you're sick. You do not feel like being around no whining-ass kids. And so God knew exactly what he was doing when he gave me that baby. I remember my mother one time saying, she said, Naomi, she said, that boy don't cry. And I said, I know he don't and good. Yeah, so we won't stop that conversation right now. So I would like to just let you know that God gave me a good baby and I took him every place I went. And that boy knew things about me that no child should know about his mother. But I just felt like I was protecting him, just keeping him with me and not leaving him with other people. So we used to sing songs together. I used to sitting down at the piano and, you know, we would sing together and he, you know, pluck on the keys, trying to play a little something. And you know, I don't know why I sat over here because I'm gonna come to you because I bet you know this song. Jesus loves me. I know you know it. We're gonna sing it together. Jesus loves me. Come here. I want you to come up here with me. Yeah, you.
down into the hell circle of violence. Here are the souls who harm others, boiling in the river of blood.
I don't know how many people in the audience have been in this situation, but have you ever had a false hope of thinking that someone was in good faith, but all along that person had some very malicious something on the back waiting for you? Yeah? Okay, so y'all can relate. So that's what happened the night I got into a shootout with the cops. Yes, the police. It's crazy. Now, they were undercover cops, so I didn't know that they was the police. They were young, black guys. Not that that matters, I'm not trying to be racist, I'm just trying to paint the picture for y'all. They were in my peer group, right? It was like 2:30 in the morning, and they was trying to act like some gangsters. And they was doing a real good job at acting gangster, fucking with me at 2:30 in the morning, I'll tell you that. So, and also in my defense, when the shooting started, the guy pulled the gun out first. I would be lying if I told you that I remember who fired the first shot. But what I do remember is that he pulled his weapon first. So he pulled his gun out on me, I pulled my shit out on him. And we start shooting, right? And then somebody from across the street starts shooting at me too. And I'm on the porch, so there's nowhere for me to go, right? And they're on the sidewalk, so we're going back and forth. So I run in the house, and my back is against a wall, literally, nowhere for me to go. So I run in the house, and they still shooting. I get to the living room, they still shooting. I try to run through to the dining room, I get shot in my leg. Ain't nothing done. Don't feel it when you're in something like that. You know, a lot of times if it's not like deadly, you ain't even gonna feel it. But by the time I got from the dining room, trying to get to the kitchen, they shot me like right here. And you guys would be able to see it if I was wearing something different. But the bottom line is it was very close to the back of my head. They almost blew my damn head off. And now, it's mad seconds later. There's still so many shots coming through the doors, coming through the windows. So I'm like, who are these people? What is going on? Somebody's really trying to kill me. So I go hide behind a wall, like in the dining room. And I'm waiting for the shooting to end, still not ended. They ended up shooting over 130 rounds into this house. They shot everybody that was in the house, including a kid who had cerebral palsy in his wheelchair in the living room. And once the shooting finally stopped, I put my hands up, you know, because I saw cop lights, I saw cops, you know, I seen a bunch of cop cars out the window. So I'm thinking, shit, thank God the cops is here, because whoever them motherfuckers was, they were some assassins. I was glad, I felt like I was being rescued. And I'm thinking, I knew I was going to jail, right? Because I was involved in a shooting. But at the same time, I wanted to know whoever that was. I needed to know what was going on. I have never been so relieved in my life to see some police. So they dragged me out, they handcuffed me, and then they just started beating me down. Beating me with the nightsticks, spitting on me, just kicking and stomping me all in my head. Now my hands are behind my back, cuffed, so I can't block my head. And it was glass on the ground, because remember I told y'all they shot the windows out. So it was glass on the ground. And as less as I remember the bullet wounds actually hurting, the thing that I remember most is the piercing of the glass. It's just hitting me with each friction, each kick, each impact. I feel the glass just cutting into my body. And I remember just laying there thinking, why are they beating me like this? Like, what am I missing? You know, shootings happen every day where I'm from. So I'm laying there, I'm thinking, what is going on? It wasn't clicking. And then they raised me up, put me on a stretcher, and when they raised the gurney up, I saw the guy that I was shooting out with, or shooting at, on the other side in the gurney with a badge around his neck. He was crying. And all these people was running up to him, you know. And I just remember saying, oh shit. Like you done fucked up big time. You're done. Your life is over. That's what I remember thinking. And but thank God it wasn't over. It's not over. Not yet. With the gang at the bar, stumbled all the way to the car. Slouched the back of the leg, I seeing stars as they roll back. All of a sudden, hit pat, scoop, soul in a snap. Caddy moving real fast, being on the dash, low on that ass. Bang out, it's a crash. That's when shit go black. When you come to a crack, you got your damn arms tied behind your back. And you don't even know what happened, but you know you ain't a rat. So they take you to book and bail a few racks, but you ain't got that. Victim getting life flighted, charges murder indictment. OGs ain't biting, jailhouse lawyers telling you to fight it. Wife, you got your asylum. Shit, so do your side bitch. Sully said it's election year. I don't know what that means. It means if you lose, you get in the electric chair. Plea offers hella years. You gotta hold in the well of tears. Can't cry all these males in here. You ain't getting no melanin. Think about telling you hella scared. But if you tell that coffin pit, they'll offer shit to put a nail in there. Jail to prison, realize nobody miss you. You realize them bitches ain't coming to visit, my nigga. And when you go home, your kids won't remember you, nigga. Practice fitness, religion, give wisdom, blessing. Parole, man, I wanna go home. Damn, I ain't got no home plan, no. Turn me up, Tyler. Oh, family view in a cold. Damn, it's the only home that I know. Blow trial, get an elbow. Working out at the jail glow. Keep putting in the pill, should've took the deal. Court saying hell no. Nightmares in your sheet, tolerate, tear neck and just let go. But you know that the hell you go if you do already in the hellhole. Wife, you got a new nigga. Got him raising your kids and buying them clothes, father and roll. He even giving ass whippings. Your mom died, she was sickened. You ain't get the obit shit. You ain't found out till one of your siblings came through with a conviction. It's been 15 you been in, 1,000 roommates you live with. A new dude with a box walk in, you realize that's your kid. Shit, he don't even remember you. Even though you're identical, I guess the cycle continues. Yes, the cycle continues. This is the system, jail to prison. Realize nobody miss you. You realize the bitches ain't coming to visit, my nigga? And when you come home, your kids won't remember you, nigga. Practice fitness, religion, give us the blessing. Parole, man, I wanna go home. Damn, I ain't got no home plan, no. It be your own family view in the cold. Damn, it's the only home that I know. Parole, man, I wanna go home. I ain't got no home plan, no. It be your own family view in the cold. Damn, it's the only home that I know. This is the system, jail to prison, realize nobody miss you. This is the system, jail to prison, realize nobody miss you. This is the system, jail to prison, realize nobody miss you. This is the system, jail to prison, realize nobody miss you. This is the system, jail to prison, realize nobody miss you. This is the system, jail to prison, realize nobody miss you. This is the system, jail to prison, realize nobody miss you. This is the system, jail to prison, realize nobody miss you.
In purgatory, Dante is advised to admit his past mistakes. Confess your errors, and you will be stronger for it.
So now, my son and I, we were living in my mother and father's house. He was a little boy then. He must have been like 6 or 7 years old. And he knew that I was an alcoholic. He's 7 now. He knew that I was a drug addict. He knew everything that a little boy should not have known, and especially about his mother. So this particular day, well, it was every day really, but I needed a drink this day because there wasn't anything in that house to drink. And I used to be so bad that my first drink in the morning had to be with a straw because I shook so bad. So bad. So, couldn't hold the glass. So, I wanted to go to my mother and father's because they owned a club where I used to sell liquor there sometimes and, you know, food. So, of course, you know, I wanted to hurry up and get there. So I'm hollering at, you know, my son saying, come on, Eddie, hurry up. We got to go to Pop-Pop's. That's what we call my father. So he heard me on the phone talking, but this was something that I should have known because he heard everything that I did. You know, he was just that kind of a kid. And I remember my mother used to say, that's a shame, that boy taking care of you instead of you taking care of him. So he knew I needed a drink. So we used to have this bar in the basement of the house. And do you know that boy went down in that basement, and I didn't know what he was downstairs doing. I was sitting in the kitchen, and here he come, little feet just walking up the steps, and then he's like, Mommy, close your eyes. And I'm like, come on now, you know, I'm feeling sick. I'm not ready for playing all these little childish ass games. I'm ready to go. And he's like, Mommy, close your eyes. I got a surprise for you. And so I close my eyes. And he's like, open them. And I opened my eyes. And this little boy had went down in that basement and took all those empty bottles and poured all them little corners of stale, old liquor in a glass to make his mommy a drink. Now, well, you know who drank it, don't you? Who drank it? Me. Stale and everything. Ain't that a shame? And I knew at that time, really, that was it. And I knew I needed to make a change in my life. That was like the bottom of the barrel for me. I knew that my change needed to come. I had to make a change. I'm gonna try and teach y'all this little song. I ain't too good with it myself. The professor kind of helps me with the song all the time. So I'm hoping that I'm going to remember it now. All right, just give me a little beat like this. Yeah, now don't clap too fast because the song ain't fast. Yeah, like you got the beat. That's it, that's right. Okay, that's a good beat. Mama taught me how to pray. Mama taught me how to pray. If I fail to pray and my soul be lost, nobody's fault but mine. What's the other one? I got a song to sing. I got a song to sing. If I fail to sing it and my soul be lost, nobody's fault but mine. Oh, thank you. Very good. And I like that. You know why I like that song? Really, I just learned the song from the professor. I should know it with being my age, but I didn't know it. But anyway, when I think about all the things that I've done, you know, since I've been in my right mind, nobody's fault but mine. So think about that. Nobody's fault but your own.
The bottom of hell is frozen by Satan's bitter wind. The cold has numbed my feelings. Wipe the ice from my eyes before my tears freeze.
So we still in a safe place today, right? Everything's still safe? All right. So they take me to the hospital, put me in the ambulance, take me to the hospital. And then they took me to the district to wait for the judge. So that's the process when you get arrested. And they told me they needed to take my clothes for evidence. So took my clothes, Left me with just a hospital smock on and some sneakers. Brand new, crispy white Air Force Ones. Now they're bloody though, but when they're at the district, they give you a cheese sandwich, give you a little quart of water. It was very, very, very cold in their hospital smock. And after a while, I remember I was literally freezing, so I took the toilet paper and I wrapped it around my body so I could warm up. That actually helped a little bit. You don't know nothing about that, huh?
Nothing.
Yeah. That's a down and dirty district trick. Just to give you guys an idea, prison is way 1,000 times better than a district. And I was in that cell for many a day. I really don't know how many days. Because after a while, you don't see any daylight, you don't see any, darkness. You have no idea what's going on. But I had all my cheese sandwiches that they gave me stacked up as a pillow. I laid on the cheese sandwiches anytime I wanted to, take a couple minutes. I guess I was making my way to a very comfortable place. They made sure that they kept me alone so I didn't have other people in the cells with me. And there was this cop. I guess he wasn't as mad at me as the rest. And he kept coming and talking to me. He would tell me stuff like, "Girl, you so lucky to be alive. What was you thinking? They wanted to kill you." Which my other friend, her mom was a cop at the same district that it happened. She said the same thing. They was gonna kill me that night. But it was too many people that had already made it outside once everything happened. So this is the block where I'm from, right? I live on this block. People watched me grow up there, So everybody was like pushing to get by the cops, and they were trying to fight on the cops. They were screaming and hollering, "That's a girl, what y'all doing? That's a girl." It became too much of a spectacle for them to do whatever it is that they wanted to do. But in the beginning when it all happened, I heard that numerous times. The cops said it, my friend's mom said it, they was gonna kill you. Thank God they didn't. Thank God I made it finally to the county jail. But when I got there, I didn't really have much of a recollection of things because I was concussed. So I didn't really remember all of these things that happened. But there were a few fun facts that I did remember. And I am so sorry that you are here when I tell this fun fact, but the script is already written, but I do apologize. I do apologize ahead of time. But I did remember that I was wearing a dildo that night when this whole thing happened. I guess I was waiting on a girl to come over, and clearly I didn't think that I would be shooting it out with the police. But I remember when they started, stomping me out, the cop, when he was at court, the cop said, he started to bring it up. He said, "Well, they were screaming that it was a girl, but, there was a hard object between her legs, so we didn't know." I guess he was trying to embarrass me. Mission accomplished in court in front of the jury. You got to think this is like pre-LGBTQ and all that. None of that existed back then. So I remember when they took me to the hospital and they had to cut my clothes off because I was shot and everything. They cut the clothes off, and when they got to my pants and they cut it off, the dildo just popped up, just boom! Popped up, and I was handcuffed to the bed because I was an inmate. So I was looking like Jesus in the bed, and I couldn't, cover anything. It was kind of crazy. And the whole hospital room was dead as quiet. It was the emergency. It was the ER, so everybody was just looking, just zeroed in. And I kind of had to kick them out the trance. I'm like, cut it off! Cut it off! So yeah, fun fact. You have the right to remain silent or be restrained violently. They had the right to leave you slain lifeless if you're not detained quietly. And there's always some innate bias. Like, oh, he should have stayed quiet. Well, they was frightened by his haters priors. That's probably why I survived it. You tell a story you can't hear because they all fucking dead. Y'all wouldn't have marched for me. Y'all would have let that law free if you would have offered me. Nobody believed that it was me and him. The badge give y'all more comfort than believing him. And George Floyd in my mind like make it count, bitch. You shot back and lived, I died by the counterfeit. You know, some honest shit, the trauma get deeper than why I exist. And my purpose, I probably won't amount to it. In a district for a week, hospital gown, freezing on the ground, tissue wrapped around me. Wishing it was bounty, so relieved when I made it to the county. Blue trial, couldn't wait to get to prison. Cause I'ma see her for more hours when she visit. Shot a lieutenant, I'm finna be going a minute. I stack my cheese sandwiches up to make a pillow, Lord. And every day I thank God I'm still living. That whole day I had that hunch premonition. And where I'm from, you gotta trust your intuition or get shot in your stomach, ignoring the gut feeling. And the blues, they make it better. Or that yellow, I was paranoid. Danger reeking off me, you can smell it in my pheromone. Down bad, gripping on my ratchet when I hear a noise. Cut my wet with jet fuel, my trauma was a carry-on. Carry on. Nigga walked up on me with a hoodie and a weapon drawn. We both trying to make it home. Ain't no more high ground. That high road gon' be that same dirt you end up buried on. Still hear the flash, hear the clap. I can still feel the heat from the rounds in my back. And the cuffs as they drag me and stalk me in the glass. Boot prints on my face look like I had them tatted. In the district for a week, hospital gown, freezing on the ground, tissue wrapped around me. Wishing it was bounty. So relieved when I made it to the county. Blue trial, couldn't wait to get to prison. Cause I'ma see her for more hours when she visit. Shot a lieutenant, I'm finna be going a minute. I stack my cheese sandwiches up to make a pillow, Lord. Get comfortable. You gonna be here for a while, so get comfortable. Get comfortable. You gonna be here for a while, so get comfortable. Comfortable. You had the right to remain silent or be restrained violently. They had the right to leave you slain lifeless if you're not detained quietly. And it's always something they bias, like, oh, he should have stayed quiet, or they was frightened by his heinous priors. And that's probably why I survived it. To tell a story you can't hear because they all fucking dead.
Dante grieves for children whose parents are locked up. Innocent children should not have to suffer.
So now, when I went to prison in 1982, my son, he was 10 years old at the time. When I came home from prison, my son was 47. Now, I didn't kill anybody, but I was with someone who did. Now, with my mother knowing everything that had happened, you know, she said, Naomi, I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm telling you, you need to bring that boy home to me until you make up your mind what it is that you want to do. So that's what I did. I took my son home to my mother and my father, and I turned myself into the police. Okay, so now I'm locked up. Now remember, he's 10. So I call home from the prison one day, and my mother says, Naomi, she said, look, I don't know what I'm going to do with this boy. She said he won't listen to anybody. She said he has no respect for older people. She says anytime an older person says anything to him, he says, you ain't my mother, I ain't got to listen to you. You know, he was just rebellious, didn't want to listen. He didn't want to hear anything from anybody but me. So she told me, which still hurts my heart today, sometimes I think about it. She said, Naomi, he wants to get locked up and come to jail. She said he's thinking that if he gets locked up and comes to jail, that they are going to put him with you. And that really just broke my heart. So in fact, we just had a conversation not too long ago. He's 50 now. And he just started crying. He was like, but you were my best friend, and you know, and I missed you so much. And I know that I really scarred my son being away from him for all those decades. So now I can remember when he was about 17 years old. They didn't want to tell me that he had gotten shot because I was in prison. And my mother and father didn't like to tell me anything bad that was happening at home because my mother felt as though I had enough on my plate already being in prison. She didn't want to add any more. So I called home every day. So this particular day I called and my father answers the phone and I'm like, "Hey, Daddy," I said, where's Eddie? He said, oh, he'll be right back. He went to the drugstore to get some bags. Now I'm thinking, to the drugstore for bags? I said, what do you go to the drugstore to get bags for? And he said, "I'm sorry." He said, "We didn't tell you." He said, "But you know now." He said, "Eddie got shot." He said, "And he's wearing a colostomy bag." He said, "But we didn't want to tell you, Naomi. Didn't want to put any more on my plate." But see, I knew why my son had gotten shot. You know, he got shot because he was out there on the streets. He chose the streets, you know, doing things that he had no business doing, being risky, didn't care, wasn't going to school. "You ain't my mother, I ain't gotta listen to you." You know, he was just a hurt person. So one day, just, you know, by coincidence, not coincidence, but just, you know, by chance, the minister at the prison asked me if I could write a song about my life. And I thought about it, and I was like, "Yeah, you know what?" I said, "I can do that." And then I started thinking about me being incarcerated. When I was just a young child, I had all the things any little black child could want. A beautiful house, beautiful parents, but most of all we had the love of God. And as I grew older, I began to run away from home, not realizing that my mama and papa were strict only because they wanted what was best for me. I started smoking cigarettes, smoking marijuana, drinking alcohol, and then I would stay out all night long. But then I made one of the biggest mistakes of my life, taking a needle filled with heroin and sticking it in my arms, not knowing then that that one shot would someday make me prison bound. Sometimes when I'm all alone, yeah, my mind starts to wonder got shot. So many, many stories I was told. Then I would lay myself late at night, wondering who could have possibly shot my only child. And saying to myself, maybe had I been there, would that have made things alright? I've been away far too long. Oh Lord, I am incarcerated. Yeah.
An angel carried Dante to the threshold of salvation. A wise lady from heaven came and showed us the way.
A day in the life of my grandma. Gramps, that's what I call her. Get up, make her and her husband breakfast, do what you need to do at her house, come to my house, get us dressed for school, handle things at her house, back to our house. Groceries, cleaning, laundry, homework, dinner. Make sure everything was there that was needed for the next day. Leave again, do it all over. And sometimes she would even come back in the middle of the night and throw out drug addicts. The people who got high in my house, my grandma would pay them to be double agent spies. So she told them, if anything happened, it's traffic, it's a fight, call me. She'd pop up, 3 in the morning, kick everybody out. People would be scrambling, oh God, Gramps coming, Gramps coming, Gramps coming. They were terrified of my grandma. And there were times where she even moved into my house and stayed for weeks, answering the door. Ain't nobody here, get your ass from around here. She'd run everybody away. I remember one time she beat this lady with a 2x4. Her name was Pam. Pam was actually the first lady that I ever met that had a full beard like mine. And my grandma, she couldn't stand Pam. It was something about her. She told Pam to stay out the house, which she told a lot of people to stay out the house. But Pam didn't listen, and when my grandma came, people used to hide everywhere. I actually think it was a part of their skits. I think they liked this whole cat and mouse game they used to play with my grandma. People used to hide in hampers, closets, you know. They would just hide anywhere without thinking, but my siblings' room, because I was the oldest, my siblings' room was always off limits. I had 2 little brothers and a little sister, always off limits. So one day my grandma was up there folding clothes, and Pam hid under my sister's bed. Now why the fuck would she do that? And now that I'm actually thinking about it, I see why my grandma didn't like Pam. Because why would you do that? Everybody knows that my siblings' rooms, you can't go in there. Why would you hide it? But whatever. So she hid under the bed, and my sister, who was 4 years old and a complete shit starter at the time, she's sitting on the bed, and she starts doing this cough point. It was like, you know, she's like, I remember my grandma, I'm like, looking at her like, yo, Tasha, what the hell are you doing over there coughing? My sister's like, I'm not doing anything. She keeps doing it. And I'm looking at my sister like, stop. What? I'm not doing anything. So my grandma finally cooled on. My grandma said, wait, what you trying to tell me? She cooled on. She started scooting down. And my grandma moved real slow. It took about 5 minutes to get down there. She scooted down. She started Pam ass under that bed. That was it. She grabbed that 2 forks, hitting her. It was hilarious. And my grandma, she used to carry a gun in her purse, you know, just in case. A couple of times she did have to pull it out. And it's crazy because on the surface she appeared to be mean, but it was because she was so soft. Like once you were in with her, there was nothing that my grandma wouldn't do for a person who she loved, you know. You know, my grandma was the one who stood by me through all those placement bids, all those prison bids, my whole life, you know. The only place that I felt genuinely safe, the only place I ever in my whole life is with my grandma. And when I got arrested the second time, I couldn't even call her because I was that embarrassed. Because I actually ended up going to prison again after I got into a shot with the cops. Can you believe that? But it got to a point where I had to call her because that's my grandma and I love her to death and I just had to. But she's the only person that I guess I actually cared about what she thought, you know. I mean, I walk around with a beard. I don't care what nobody thinks. But her, if she felt something negative about me, it just really hurt my heart. Grandma, are you proud of me? Arose somehow, the concrete sprouted me. Watered by blood and piss where the alley be. Sent by the judge, the sticks where the valley be. Hit by the slugs and shit, the Lord salvaged me. I still don't know why, honestly. I still don't know why I didn't try to be upstanding with a college degree. Wouldn't have to ask if you was proud of me. So are you proud of me? I wouldn't have to ask if you was proud of me. So are you proud of me? Grandma, are you ashamed of me? When the church tell you that they gon' pray for me, it wasn't a waste, attention that you paid to me. Beautiful pictures that you paint for me. You love me dearly and that's plain to see. And I never made it painlessly. The diabetes gave you pain to see. And when I ran the streets aimlessly, I made you miss 7 days of sleep. So I gotta ask, are you ashamed of me? Are you ashamed of me? I can handle the truth if you ashamed of me. Are you ashamed of me? Grandma, do you believe in me? I have a feeling that you're leaving me. And if so, are you confident that I can succeed and be a validation of your dreams for me? The only girl in my life who never cheated me, never deceived me, always was the person that you seemed to be, even at times when you was mean to me. The whole world is what you mean to me, and ain't a question that every single word that you screamed at me, it was a lesson you was teaching me. So I gotta ask, Grandma, are you pleased with me? Are you pleased with me? You was there for me, so I'ma care for you. You gon' make it through. I ain't thinking about your burial. Are you pleased with me? Are you proud of me? Are you ashamed of me? Love you.
Virgil reveals the true purpose of Dante's journey. He's looking for freedom.
So now, we definitely went through hell being in prison, didn't we? Oh, how many people in here been in prison? Oh, you've been in prison, so you kind of get the story, don't you? Yes, I do. Oh, okay. All right, so prison is really like hell. And when Dante was going through hell, trust me, we do understand it, don't we? We can understand going through that hell, getting out, and then reaching the heavens. So now, for those that did not know, you know that I was in prison. I was in prison serving a life sentence. And I didn't think I was ever coming home. Sometimes I would feel like my life was over. I would go to the prison chapel and I would get on that piano and I would play and I would sing, and that would be my way of talking to God. I would pray and cry sometimes, And I would ask God questions, you know. But, you know, it was just something about being on that piano that made me feel so much better. It just gave me a connection with God that I so needed. And it was a blessing for me to be able to talk to God in my own way by making up songs and asking God questions like, how long? And you know I have no blood on my hands. You know, what do you want from me? And a lot of people would say, Naomi, you know you ain't supposed to question God. But no, I question God. I question God. He's an all-knowing God. He's my Father, and I wanted some answers. You know, show me something. And he showed me. It wasn't my timing. It was his timing. But guess what, y'all? He got around to me. I'm here. Now, there was this lady named Kathleen Brown. She was from the University of Pennsylvania. And she was like, you know, this is when I went up for commutation trying to come home. And she was like, Naomi, you got to put in a letter of reconsideration. She said, you just got to. And I was like, okay. So then there was this other one from Prison Society named Ellen Melchiondo. And she was like, Naomi, you got to put a letter in for reconsideration. And I'm thinking, phew. So I'm thinking maybe God is trying to tell me something by telling these people that are walking different walks of life, but telling me the same thing. You know, he must be trying to tell me something, and I'm not listening. Now, I guess God must have said, let me send this girl some earthly people, because she ain't listening to me, so that's just what he did, you know. And I listened. So I went to my cell, I wrote that letter, I'll never forget, I tore it out of a book, you know, a piece of paper. I wasn't trying to be proper about it. This was my 5th time. And so I wrote that letter, folded it up, and I put it in my Bible. For real, I swear I forgot about the letter. It must have been a few days, or maybe even more than that. But then something was just tugging on my spirit. You know how when something tugs on your spirit, the Lord be trying to tell you something? And some said, mail that letter, Naomi. And I mailed that letter, put it in the mailbox. And I guess it was about, I prayed on it. I tell you, I prayed on it. I prayed on that letter and put it in the mailbox. And then, like 2 weeks later, when you're in prison, well, you should know that. You know when your mail coming and who's coming from. Okay, so I knew that letter was from Harrisburg, and I was like, that was too fast. And I know these people said no again. But I got that letter, and I opened that letter, and I can't believe it even to this day. Even really, almost 40 years later now. But I was going home. Yeah, my freedom was so near. My freedom had finally come. Thank God. Oh, freedom. Freedom over me. Hey, oh, freedom. Freedom over in my grave, then I'm going home to live with God. Hey,
Dante rewrites the Lord's Prayer, asking for wisdom. O Father, who art in heaven, give us this day some knowledge, the bread of angels, so we don't go backward when we think we're moving ahead. Regina Celi, letare,
So when I got to prison, and my grandma was the only one that I could depend on or count on, I wrote my mom a letter. And this was the first time I went to prison, shoot out with the cops. I wrote my mom a letter and I said, Mom, you know, I don't blame you for how my life turned out. I chose my own destiny. I do not think that any of this is your fault. But I do believe that you played a nice little part. And I would really appreciate it if I could have a little more support from you. And my mom wrote me back and she was like, say no more. I hear you. And just like that, she was there for me for the rest of the time. And when I came home from prison, she was there for me. When I went back to prison, she was there. And it was so different because it was like getting to know a new person. Because my mom was always my mom, but the dynamic was more of a sister or, you know, a best friend. And now, you know, she's my mom and my best friend. Can tell her anything. It's a beautiful relationship. And when I came home from prison the second time, I was out looking for a job. I was busting my ass every day. And, you know, she saw me struggling. She said, you know what? She said, I'm gonna give you a job. She worked at a market research company. She hired me to be a call rep at this place. And we worked together for a long time. And then I became a supervisor, and we were like co-workers. And then I got promoted over her, or that's what she likes to say, and she started calling me her boss. And things got really awkward for a second. It was crazy, but she gave me that opportunity. And we were both blessed to, you know, move on to bigger and better things, and neither of us work there anymore. But she's moved all the way up in the world. She has a phenomenal career in medical administration, and she speaks all over the country about sobriety and how to stay clean and her motivations. Her trajectory in life was really fast, and watching her success, you know, hers and my wife's has been an immense motivation for me. And me, I'm an artist now and executive director of Dodger Pro Records, and we are the first nonprofit record label in America for prison-impacted musicians, and I hope that you guys have been enjoying our music thus far tonight. Yeah. That's where I'm at now after a ton of trials and tribulations. You guys have literally only heard like 1% tonight. And in the course of those trials and tribulations, there was a spiritual battle that I experienced, being a Christian since a child. Back to that 1%. I have failed to tell you guys that this whole time, all that time when I was doing all that bullshit, I was also going to church every Sunday and Wednesday, per my grandmother. And when I started getting involved in social justice and I started being very aware of my skin color in this country, perhaps at times maybe too aware, at a certain age I started to back out of the religion. And that left me feeling lost as a person who grew up with religion being such a big fabric of my life. And then somehow I realized that I don't need to be labeled a specific thing to believe in God or to be a good person. So I embraced that, and I wrote a song about that spiritual journey. Till I Go is my gospel. It's about having your flaws and your issues and still, with all of that, still being God's child. And it reminds me of how Dante felt it was so unfair that some people were destined to hell just based off of when and where they were from, or when and where they were born. And I like to think that regardless of who I believe is the ultimate creator, or what I call that person, I like to believe that what's more important is what's in my heart, and that my heart is honest enough that when it's my time, I'll be able to go to paradise. So this is a song about that journey, and it's about feeling spiritually uncomfortable. And I would just say, if anybody's experienced that, you will make it to the other side of that at some point. Just keep your heart in the right place. You ever get sad from being happy? Like, I did this shit for Grant. She in the afterlife. And the sacrifices she made, it took half her life. Y'all say she looking down. She hardly had a sight. I feel my faith has lost its appetite. Cause I done served the deacon and the pastor's wife. I used to know them verses front to back and back to right until I read that Bible, printed in its black and white, and it's cracker typed. My spirit don't have a sanctuary. It roams cause what is home, but God knows it's gold. Shows straight through my soul and he chose me. Now get along with me. Fat dyke with a beard, so you know this is me. I got a limp from some hoes caught below my knees. Triple D's, who the fuck you know as bold as me? But I'm supposed to be exactly how she molded me. Yeah. Only way will I know. I won't know until I go. But if I go before you go, I promise try to let you know. Like I'm spiritually homeless. Swear my spirit be rolling. Where my spirit be gone. Where my spirit be gone. Forgive me, I'm high. Some memories died and some shit stuck with me like a minute ain't even went by. And ain't no changing the cycle. They slayed the disciples in pages of the Bible. I used to pray to a Christ who wasn't doing nothing. Cause the only time I prayed was when I wanted something. Got caught dumping, now I got caught coming. But Lord, please forgive me for all my shortcomings. Give me credit for being forthcoming. I'm not saying it's no paradise. Just no one knows what that shit is like. Praising Christ or Allah, Jehovah, whoever I like, don't make me right. So if I praise my God until I go numb and die, and then I find out it was the wrong one, am I condemned because I was speaking with the wrong tongue? I'm just translating the lyrics of the song sung. Only way will I know. Won't know until I go. And if I go before you go, I promise try to let you know. Like I'm spiritually homeless. Swear my spirit be rolling. Where my spirit be gone. Where my spirit be gone. Now lay me down to sleep. I pray to Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray to Lord my soul. Y'all know that? And now lay me down to sleep. I pray to Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray to Lord my soul. Now lay me down. I pray to Lord my soul. If I should die before, I pray to Lord my soul.
Dante walks through fire to get to the earthly paradise on his way to heaven. Now that you are free and your will is your own, I crown you all the commander that waits ahead. Regina Coeli,
So when Dante gets to the top of Purgatory Mountain and is crowned by Virgil as himself, then it reminds me of a song that I used to sing when I was in prison, I Will Wear a Crown. So now I told my son that when I'm dead and gone, that this is the song that I want to be sung over me. And that's because I just love the song. Now, Dante, he received his crown after he went through all that hell. And I feel like I went through hell too. And I'm still going through hell, trust me. But I believe that I'm going to get something at the end. And you know why? Because I'm a good person. I know I have my heart in the right place. And I make mistakes just like everybody else. Any of you make mistakes? Amen. We make mistakes. So I think that after all this hell, and when my days on this earth are over, that God will just look at me and say, well done, my good and faithful servant. Amen. Now, you see, I want to put a light on this room right here. I'm just passing through. That's why when I was on the other side, I got my little associate's degree, I got my paralegal certificate. I did a whole lot on the inside. You know why? Because I thought I was going to die there. And when my son came to pick up my body, I wanted them to give him my credentials so that he could see that his mother was more than just an alcoholic and a drug addict. That's all he knew me as. So now I'm battling cancer. Just a few months ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer and lung cancer. So now, I was in prison all those decades, and God brought me out of that hell that was truly the pits of hell that I never thought I would be out of, but I am now, thank God. And now I'm going through another type of hell. But you know what? They say, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Well, this is the valley of the shadow of death. But I'm not going to fear this evil cancer that I have, because I know that God is with me. So now I just feel like one day I'm going to get my crown. It's still something I'm trying to earn, but I'm going to get that crown. I look forward to receiving my crown. I must tell all of you, though, I started seeing life a little differently now that they told me that I have cancer. You know, I kind of want to hold on to this life. But then again, more than anything, I just want to be an encouragement to people that may be going through some of the same things that I'm going through. You know, I want them to be able to look at me and say, well, if Miss Naomi can do it, then so can I. So when I die, remember that. I said when I die, may not be long, but when I die, I want that song sung at my funeral. I shall wear a crown. Yep, that's my song, that's my story, I'm sticking to it. I shall wear a crown. And you know, I can just picture Virgil just standing up there on the top of Purgatory Mountain, just holding that crown in his hand, waiting for Dante to get his just rewards, wearing a crown. Something that I pray that one day I will get as well, wearing a crown. I shall wear a crown. I shall wear a crown. When my life is over, thank you, Jesus, I'll wear a crown. I'm going to put on my robe and tell the story how I made it over. You better believe that I'm going to put on my robe and tell the story how I made it over. I'm gonna put on my robe and I'm gonna tell somebody how I made it over. I will wear a crown. I will wear a crown. Oh yeah. When my life is over, thank you, God, I'll wear a crown. A crown, yeah, yeah. A crown, yeah, yeah. A crown.
Dante described hell as so many flocks of naked souls, all weeping miserably. That's prison in a nutshell. To get out of the hell, Dante has to cross so many bodies of troubled water, all fed by sun tears. And also, he had to wade through the rivers of memory and forgetting before he can rise up to the light and musics in heaven.
You know, Denny, I can relate to that. This is our last story, guys, I promise. I can relate to that. There comes a time in life, you know, you've been in the street, shot, stabbed, prison, jail, been a victim, you've been a perpetrator. You know, there comes a time where you make it through enough trauma, right, that you start to question, what was it all for once you made it through? And in your quest to figure that out, you realize that you've developed some strength and endurance through it all. And not all people respond to trauma that way. Thank God that's how I responded, through music. And I work with an artist, her name is BL Shirelle. She is a phenomenal poet, rapper, who's serving 30 years. She's been in there since she was 17. I was playing her album for her family. I went down South Carolina just to play it for them. And it was such a proud moment for her grandma. Her grandma was like, oh yeah, that's my baby. She know what to do. I told her well, like her grandma was a rapper. That's how proud she was. And her son, he's a teenager, so he's in his too cool phase, you know. And he also raps, but he's like, my mama cold, like, my mama cold. And you know, as a woman rapper myself, and I have a 17-year-old, once they think you're not cool is a really bad sign for your career. So as long as your kids think you're still cool, then you still got it. But he's so proud, and it's been such a great journey. And I want a grant to take her album to different prisons and spread her message, and go to at-risk youth facilities and spread her message to at-risk young black girls. And this work, it just makes me feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. It makes me feel like that is what it all was for.
And then there's this woman named Henrietta Harris. And I used to help Henrietta, you know, out when I was working for the Lieutenant Governor of Pennsylvania. I worked with the Commutation Board, and so I was doing some research on Henrietta just to give some information to the board so that she would be deserving of that second chance. And her son, he would always call me and say, Miss Naomi, you think my mom ever coming home? Well, we went to her hearing in Harrisburg, and they sent Henrietta back to prison. So when they sent her back to prison, I'm telling you, this boy he cried so hard. And I went into this room and I talked to him, but, you know, needless to say, keep, you know, a long story short, Henrietta is home now. And the good part about it is that when people like BL and myself, you know, that have been there, done that, you know, just keep in touch with lifers like Henrietta and people that are serving long term or just being in prison. A year is a long time. You know, just being away from your family, that gives them the hope that they need. And so as long as God does blow breath in this body of mine, then I will be in that struggle. How about you?
To the day I die.
All right. Now, how about any of you? Would you be in that struggle to just, you know, just be an ear for somebody on the inside? Amen. That's so good. All right. God love you, and so do I. That wasn't in the script.
Yeah, I'm not big on, you know, astrology or anything, but I do know that I'm an Aquarius, and I do know, Aquarius? What we got? Okay. And I know that Aquariuses are water bearers, and being a water bearer and a musician is very similar. So it's my job to be a vessel to others, to nourish those in need. I also know that there's a spiritual power in water. You have water that's tied to religion and getting saved, getting baptized, being cleansed. Being a water carrier is a call to action to get things from one place to the next. And my job is to take stories of people who are not heard or seen to the public. And Dante said that his poetry was meant to lift people out of misery and open their eyes to the possibility of something better. And that's what we do. That's what we do through music.
So, with all this in mind, Naomi and BL will sing a song called Troubled Waters. Originally, it was sung as advice to escaping slave to wade through the waters so the dog chasing them will lose the scent. It's a song about surviving. I return from the healing waters refreshed and ready to rise to the stars.
La, 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 la. I'm not no singer like Miss Naomi. La, 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 la. I do sometimes write songs singing. I don't know why I do that. La, 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 la. Let me take you to the water. Let me take you to the stream. Let me take you to the river where it used to be a city of niggas chasing their dreams till they drown. Let me take you to the ocean, but we ain't going past the shore. Our legacy went overboard, crash waves as the roar. The souls on that ocean floor, you hear the sound, yeah. They still around here, and they was never found here. So let the water hit the ground, yeah. Cherish the roots. Every time a plant die, perish our truth. Burying our youth so our trees can't bear the fruit. We still are bound here. We still gon' drown here. Yeah, let me take you to the lake. They say it's peaceful and it's safe, but there's some natives in that space displaced without a trace except their own tears on a trail now. Bet them tears made a creek. Wonder if they lay in peace. Wondering if when they weep was it nourishment for the trees and we breathe all of their grief up in the air now. Imagine being home here, but you can't even roam there. Your crop won't even grow, yeah. It's like a drought, doing rain dances, you chanting up to the cloud, but the only water is coming up out your eye till ain't no more there. Dry to the bone, yeah. Let me take you to the water. Let me take you to the stream. Let me take you to the river where it used to be a city and niggas chasing their dreams till they drowned them. Let me take you to the ocean, but we ain't going past the shore. Our legacy went overboard, crash waves is the roar. The souls on that ocean floor, you hear the sound, yeah. They still around here, and they was never found there. So let the water hit the ground, yeah. Cherish the roots, every time a plant die, perish our truth. Burying our youth so our trees can't bear the fruit. We still unbound here, we still gonna drown here, yeah. Still gonna drown here. We 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 still gonna drown here. Wade in the water, more lives was lost and saved in the water. Still gonna drown here. 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 Wade in the water, more lives was lost and saved in the water.